What's going on, Vector family? Luke Leasing here again. I'm joined by Jabari. Jabari, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing great. How about you, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. We were just talking off camera about some of the payouts that you received, and I didn't know about them. I didn't know about these payouts until now. But before we even get into some of the numbers and the success, how long ago did you join Vector, and how was it? Because you were introduced to us by a good friend, a mutual friend, right? So
Yeah.
how was the introduction process to Vector, and how was your experience in your first couple of months?
Yeah, so I started the beginning of February, so the very like I think the first of the month, and yeah, came in through a referral from a friend, and have traded in the past, just like options and I guess stocks, but very minimally, more just like a long term investor. So a little bit new to the prop firm concept, but after it was explained to me, it was like, oh, this sounds really interesting. Wanted to try it out, and I think the biggest challenge really is just like the first part, just like it's a learning curve, figuring out the software and how it works and signing up for softwares and everything. But it's great to have kind of like a community, which I've really appreciated about the Vector team, to have people kind of helping you out, set your accounts up, and getting started, giving you advice and perspective on what best practices and next steps. So that has been really helpful in getting started and kind of resulted in some of the successes I've seen.
Valid. So I actually didn't know that you had trading experience. So I guess going into Vector, would you say that having previous trading experience helped or didn't really make a difference?
I would say I'm an amateur trader. So I would say my is more of a fun thing for me on the side more than like anything I spent like a ton of time doing. So more familiar with some concepts, but not I cannot say I was an expert at all. But have kind of dabbled over the years. Like I said, more of a long-term investor, but then have a small amount that's more of a fun, just try things out.
Okay, got it. And as you know, like we have a lot of strategies within uh our roster, right? The strategies and the algos that we offer. And typically speaking, 99% of people run the same strategy, right? And you and I both know it's beef bowl. But before we talk about some of the profits that you've made, what is your approach to vector and trading? Like, let's just say you had a family member come up to you and say, "Hey, Jabari, what's the software that you're using with Vector? Like, how does it work?" What would you say is like your strategy to making an income with our system?
Yeah, the way that I've set the strategies up for myself are to have most of the accounts, I guess I would say at a medium risk level. And then the other ones, I guess, high to medium risk level. And so for me, mostly for most of my accounts, I target $200 a day. Some of those more aggressive accounts are $300 a day. And then I think two of those accounts are $400 a day. So I have 20 accounts total. And between all of those accounts, I've kind of split those, max profit targets up a little bit, just so you have a little bit of scale between the less risky ones and more like higher risk ones.
Got it. So you have that even spread of, I guess you can call it risk settings, right? Medium, high, a little bit lower, some on the lower end. Now, with that strategy, how much have you made? Because if you want to divide them in payouts and as well as just overall profits, I know we discussed that off camera. How
Yeah.
much have you made in actual payouts approved and as well as like overall profits?
Yeah. So far, payouts are person. My first payout was $6,900, and then my second payout, which has been approved, was 18,900. So close to 26K in profits in this April right now. So since the beginning of February.
Okay, so it's about 2.5 months ish.
Yes.
And then on top of those, outside of the payouts, how much more have you made on top of that, right? Because with the prop firms we use, we're capped at a certain amount that we can uh, request to actually withdraw. So on top of that, how much more have you made?
Yeah, so I'd say if I had to estimate, close to like 30K between all 20 accounts with funds that are in the account that hopefully soon I can withdraw.
That's insane. So in 2.5 months, you actually have 26 grand withdrawn into the bank and another, say, 30 grand pending, within the Apex rules and the Top Step rules.
Exactly, exactly.
That's crazy, man.
Super
But
exciting.
yeah, that's absolutely insane. The same question I like to close off on all of these interviews is if you had to give one piece of advice to a new trader listening to this video, maybe someone that wants to get started in trading, someone getting started with prop firms, or even bot trading, algo trading, what's one piece of advice you would give a new trader listening to this?
I would say, especially starting out with the platform, learn patience and understand that slow and steady will get you to the goal. It's very tempting, and I have also fallen into the mindset of just like just want to get the outcomes very quickly. But you can do that and you can be successful in that way, but there's also kind of pitfalls that come with that. But with the strategies, with kind of the advice from the vector team, there's kind of proven ways to kind of get to the goal. May take a little bit longer, but have more certainty around getting to those outcomes. I think just patience, and then kind of just an even keeled mindset, so you don't kind of get too greedy or too fearful. But just have a plan, stick to it, and then you'll eventually seek success.
That's great. You know what? I've done a bunch of these interviews, and every time I ask that question, I don't think a single person has ever talked about anything technical or trading. It's always be patient. It's always something related to your mindset because I always say all the time, trading is like 80% psychology, right? So if you can get that locked in, then you have most of trading already, I guess call it mastered. So I appreciate your time, Jabari, and yeah, look forward to seeing you in Discord.
Yeah, appreciate what you guys been building, and thanks for the time.
All right. Thank you.